Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Castlevania Aria of Sorrow randomizer race. I am Vlad, and today we'll be watching the race between WindFox and JupiterClimb. This is the winners' quarterfinals. And the winner of this match will move on to face Mage in the next round. And here we go. What do we have in this shop? Gladius is pretty cheap. Alex is expensive. Okay, we're gonna get a ton of money. I'm expecting both players to buy the Gladius there. Really convenient straight sword. Ooh, Devil is a very interesting blue soul to have access to in the early game. Rush souls are really your go-to blue souls for damage purpose, as well as some speed. Well, even though for speed, those seeds we are playing in this tournament have guaranteed early Black Panther, so that will be the main tool for speed travel in the castle. Jupiter is the first one to reach that Black Panther soul here, and decides to check this exit first. Must be noted that these races are area rando, which means every area transition will lead you to any random place. And Jupiter got something there in the waterfall check. I didn't quite catch what it was, but then he decided to just take it and move on to the right instead of exploring the reservoir right away. Yep, absolutely. Barracks is right. Yeah, I applied in the tournaments, so good know. All right, we have here different strategies. WindFox opting to explore those bottom two checks in the corridor, whereas Jupiter is heading directly to the top part of the corridor. Expecting those checks here. Oh, Black Belt is a very good accessory to have in strength builds. It's pretty cool to find it early. Black Cloak will not be as useful once we have Black Belt. So yeah, there was nothing useful for WindFox either on the bottom there. So Jupiter is now slightly in. Oh, okay, and they both found Gravekeeper here. Good deal. Didn't catch that. Alright, interestingly, WindFox decides to... Yes, okay. Go check these checks as well. That's very standard practice. Okay, kicker is confirmed. Thank you. Kicker skeleton. So right now he cannot use it because he lacks Malphas. Oh well, never mind. Here's Malphas for Jupiter. And Flying Armor, which is pretty much useless in those early Panther seeds. So yeah, now Jupiter has Black Panther plus Malphas plus Kicker, which can be a good combination. Of course, just Black Panther on its own gives you tremendous speed. But you can use the Kicker Skeleton for some extra speed in some spots here. Combat Knife is not really that exciting when we have Gladius already. And that exit on the right of the corridor leads to the Floating Gardens, which is a little bit dangerous. Because if the exit on the top of the gardens happens to be a dead end, there are 3 possible dead ends exit to the left at this point. Here is Malphas for WindFox. Then we have a pretty big, how do you call that? Oh, random skeleton drop for For WindFox, wow. A pretty big backtrack through the gardens as well as corridor. Yeah, the red ring is rune ring. Ooh, and here is a book for Jupiter. First book in the seeds. Blue book. That is Bone Pillar. Okay, and I think it's Une that dropped it, but I didn't catch that for sure. All right, this is not exactly a dead end, but not too exciting either. We are back into the corridor here for Jupiter. Two options for the next exits are, well, one option is of course to go to the reservoir through the waterfall. Now we have Malphas, we can explore that in a convenient manner. There is also this. Ooh, this is. I don't know if it's pitch black or all rock, but it's good armor. It's pitch black. Yeah. Basically, those suits are like pitch black is worse than all rocks is worse than Drag Tunic, and Drag Tunic is really one of the top pieces of armor in the game. Alright, WindFox just behind Jupiter now, getting the checks in the floating garden. And Jupiter took the exit on top of that shaft to enter the clock tower, which is a pretty short area if you're discounting the bottom part that we do not have access to so far because of the lack of Skula. WindFox opting for a save here for extra safety. And Jupiter is not bothering with the boss up there, and instead just maximizing exploration. Ooh, the arena. The arena is interesting because it has a teleporter early, though I doubt Jupiter will be interested in exploring it entirely because to get all the checks you need ideally like Giant Bat or at least Skeleton Blaze. So I think he will just use the teleporter and then move on with his life and be back there later when he possesses those souls. Okay, that means Jupiter is not exciting. Ooh, we have a blue soul here, but we lack a way to reach it so far. That will be quite interesting to come back here. Interesting blues at this point for Jupiter would be Manticore. By the way, they both have Rush, I think. Would be Manticore, would be Bone Pillar, of course, the required blue. Order to, oh, and of course Giant Bats as well. Okay, back to the shop for Jupiter. Nothing that interesting to get there, I think. Although he is selling stuff. So, okay, he wants to buy Lilith. Lilith is I think it's +8 intelligence, which is not super exciting, but it's a pretty good early game boost, especially with Devil. Hammer sells souls only in this shop sanity thing. In the randomizer, you can set the amount of souls in the hammer shop. Hammer will never sell like progression souls, but he can have he can sometimes randomly have the mandatory Graham souls. Ghost Dancer is the most useless yellow soul in the game. If for Jupiter. Oh, and WindFox found the top floor. Must have explored a different way than Jupiter. And the forbidden area is on the right, which is not extremely exciting. You could go for it though and just keep pushing. Well, no, actually, Luck does absolutely nothing. So, Cockatrice is like what? Immunity to Petrification? That does something. Okay, so WindFox got that exit from the top, which was not too exciting. Now he knows where the top floor is, though, and that is not pointless. Jupiter found the entrance to the right side of the inner quarters, It can be a bit scary to battle the boss here because you have no save point right before, and if it's Legion, it can be difficult to battle early game with Gladius, which is not a super exciting weapon. And Jupiter is back into the other exits of that bottom reservoir area. Ooh, Gungnir. Gungnir is a spear that does a number of multi-hits. Has also a lightning element to it. But it requires some backdash cancelling to be used optimally. So I personally tend to prefer Vijaya that has a bit of a similar property, but is more easy to use. But now Jupiter has Gangnam and Vijaya, so the comparison is not that relevant for this exact situation. Jupiter has already established a reasonable lead against WindFox here. WindFox has been exploring a couple areas that haven't proved too useful, and is now just gonna enter the clock tower from the top of this place. Does Bat allow you to get this? I don't think so. I think WindFox will also have to be back later for this soul here. Very tantalizing. I think in logic that soul is supposed to be reached only through flight. So it will be very possible that like you're supposed to get Hippogriff and then this is bad. Anyway, Jupiter now deciding to explore the arena. I wonder if he got slide or bat and I failed to catch that, or if he just decides to get all the checks that you can get and just forego the worst room in the game that will require you to slide. We will find out soon enough. Here, WindFox just slightly behind, exploring the... Oh no, opting to not explore the reservoir just yet. And here is Aurox's suit for Jupiter, a nice upgrade over his pitch black suit. Ooh, another soul in there, in the yellow canister that we can't get through the wall, sadly. And ooh, second book for Jupiter. Golem is the yellow soul required. That's not the worst. Golem is a plus 12 boost on strength, which is pretty useful to land some nice damage on Graham's second phase. All right, WindFox about to enter the clock tower. Now reasonably behind Jupiter, and Jupiter is now exploring all the checks in the arena. First was a bone pillar, the blue book. And as far as I can tell, we have not found the red book yet. Alright, Jupiter going to face the boss here. It is death. Should not be a big deal here with Devil and a good sword. Jupiter has this very nice strat here that has been developed for glitchless speedruns, and that allows to land a ton of Devil hits on Death Phase 1. And that sword he has right now has similar damage to what we have in that speedrun too, so... This is extremely familiar territory here for Jupiter. I think that is pretty nice here because it will land Jupiter a lot of levels, as well as opening up a shop upgrade. I know Jupiter isn't the biggest advocate of using the shop in those randomizers. He thinks that it's often a waste of time, but it will be interesting to see here, since we don't have any super exciting weapon just yet, if he decides to give it a look. Because if there happens to be... Oh, and the drag tunic! We've been through the whole chains of those suits here for Jupiter. Pitch black into all rocks into drag tunic. Drag tunic really one of the top pieces of armor in the game. So now I think Jupiter will not be looking too hard to improve that. Climbing job is a very real possibility. Okay, WindFox here diverges from Jupiter's routing because Jupiter declined to check that boss here at the top of the clock tower. And WindFox is checking it, so potentially here, if there is something huge behind that boss, WindFox could recoup some of his disadvantage. Oh, and Skula here for Jupiter was a good move to check that. Oh, and it's Legion for WindFox. We've seen WindFox yesterday yesterday it was, I think, or 2 days ago, doing a marvelously skilled Legion fight. So let's see how he fares right now. Because if he does dispatch Legion, that will be a real big lot of levels for him. Oh, Curly for Jupiter here, interesting. So that soul we were looking at was indeed Curly, so not extremely useful. Yeah, I think WindFox will dispatch Legion here. It will take some time, but he will do it, no problem. Okay, Jupiter landing a random skeleton drop soul here. Skeleton has a pretty high drop rate, unlike Zombie, so it's not surprising. And Skula allows him to go check that exit on the right. That's a pretty neat thing. Cemetery. Usually you'll love finding Cemetery because it's a very high concentration of a lot of checks. I think there are 4 in here in a very small space, so it's a nice check burst plus a boss. I think at this point, with Devil, there is no boss that Jupiter is scared about. And we know for sure it's not Legion, so worst case would be Balor. No, it's Headhunter. Cemetery has 5. Maybe, I can count, but I can think of 4. But the Legion's, the boss soul is not a check, so it's just 4. Headhunter is a pretty easy boss to kill here, especially with Devil. It's I think more widely known, but Devil is weak. Headhunter is weak to blade elements, and Devil is a rush soul with blade damage, so it has that extra bit of efficiency on that boss compared to Manticore. Skelly Knight is not a super exciting soul to drop on this guy. Okay, that was a cream puff, I think. Jupiter is the best player in this game in the world, arguably. So he values healing way less highly than most runners do and should. Golem here, Recurrent Soul for Jupiter, really cool. That's 1 out of 3. So you will often see him enter a room, see healing, and just go away because he doesn't need to heal. Oh, Legion is highly disgusting. You should never underestimate the disgustingness of Legion. Okay, now Jupiter has been clearing the cemetery and will be heading towards probably that exit on top of the corridors that WindFox just checked a bit earlier, and that has top floor into Forbidden Aria. So far, he didn't have flight, so he can't explore the top floor just yet. I think with Skula, he will check some stuff in here, or at the very least, the exit to the right. Okay, no, up to just exit, which is reasonable. Those 2 checks on the right side of the Forbidden Area take a lot of time. They are some of the least worthwhile checks in the game. Oh, that exit here is highly exciting. Doesn't lead anywhere interesting. Okay, so Jupiter is now opting to go get those checks. The next destination after this is, I think, heading to the reservoir and moving to the top part of the reservoir. That's my best guess. And here is a yellow Undyne for Jupiter. That is not very useful, to be very honest. It will allow him to catch one check in the upper reservoir with his Malphas and without flight, if he so desires. But yeah, otherwise, pretty unexciting find. And what is this? Winged Skeleton. Could be the required red, so I think now Jupiter will keep those two and just backtrack manually. Through the entire 4 billion area plus top floor corridor plus in castle corridors. And yeah, I'm guessing his next destination will be the reservoir. Okay, WindFox has finally dispatched one of the shells of Legion and will be able to damage the core a bit more efficiently. Although I'm not sure why he's not using his Devil at the moment. Even though his mana is full. Ooh, Valkyrie here for Jupiter. That's a pretty interesting red to find. It's kind of a mini red minnow with some nice damage, a high mana cost. But it also is a holy damage soul, which is interesting on a number of enemies, including Graham and potentially Chaos, as well as Legion if he ends up fighting that boss. Okay, Jupiter, as I said, heading towards the top half of the reservoir. That trip through the middle of the reservoir is something you don't like to do on average because it's a big middle area with no checks at all. So ideally, you'd like to enter the reservoir from the bottom and check the bottom, and then enter again from the top somewhere else, and then check the top, and never have to go through this whole long corridor and ascend here. But here there was no obvious better option for Jupiter, so we're doing it. Okay, is Legion gone here for WindFox? Or is it just somewhere? He has lost track of it. Okay, here it is. Kioma Demon here for Jupiter. It's a soul. Okay, here Jupiter gonna be using his Undyne to get this check, so yay for Undyne. Milken Sword is a decent straight sword. I'm not sure how it compares to Gladius. It's definitely worse than a lot of the really good straight swords like Rahab, even Leviathan, of course. I'm not exactly sure how damage scaled between all that, and that exit here for Jupiter is to the study. Study has a number of checks in a relatively easy and small area to navigate to, so it's usually something you're happy to find. Except if he doesn't find the slide or giant bat's ability in here, then he will have to backtrack through the entire area because the bottom exit is locked by any of those two souls. Damn, this Legion fight for WindFox here is very long. We're really hoping for him not to die. Oh, that's a very nice use of the kicker ability to forego the puzzle pushing, the block pushing puzzle. Really nice. Got a red soul in there. We still don't know what the required red is, so any red soul is potentially crucial. Milliken is better than Gladius. Okay. Okay, Crimson Cloak is not something that you will be very into compared to the Black Belt, I believe. And we have 3 checks left, including the boss, to try and get that slide ability that will allow us to exit the area without a backtrack. What's the blue here? Death. Not quite giant bats. All right, let's see what the boss is. At this point, we have seen most of the hard bosses. Could be Valor. Okay, it's Valor. Like Valor is a pretty sad boss because he's too high to be hit by the devil and other rush souls. So you have to kill it with the blades. Okay, down goes Legion for WindFox at long last. And the check here is Skula, which Jupiter just randomly found in the arena, so not the best deal for WindFox. But, you know, from his point of view here, he did find a useful ability plus a big stack of levels, so it's not all for naught for WindFox. GG on that Legion victory. Alright, and of course, Valor, as to be expected, is getting dismantled by JupiterClimb. Valor is a boss that gets killed a lot at very low levels with very middling gear in speedruns. So yeah, Jupiter is probably the best expert in the world at killing Valor. Yeah, and there was some sweet skyfishing. Kind of reminds you of the IGT speedruns for Boss Rush, where people do like a soul switch with Skyfish in the middle of everything, and use the death and Valor downtimes to... Oh, Skelly Blaze here for WindFox. That is very good because Jupiter lacks that at the moment and is currently going through a huge backtrack because he lacks that. So that means when WindFox does find the arena, he will be able to exit from the bottom. Alright, friends, I'm terribly sorry. I had a bit of a power outage for a second. I am right back with y'all, so I missed some of the action. If any of our players got any checks while I was away, please let me know. Yeah, WindFox got slide. I called that. And Giant Bat. Thank you very much. And Giant Bat. Okay. Alright, so WindFox did find the chapel. Oh, here is the yellow book. I think Jupiter only had that. So we know it's Golem. Alright, and JC, okay, backtrack through the reservoir and is now facing Legion. He has a lot more levels than WindFox did when he faced it, so I expect the fight to go faster. He is also a more experienced player, of course. Yep. Wow, look at how good Death is against this boss. All the hits. Pretty cool that something kind of tops Manticore or Devil in that fight. WindFox exploring the checks in the chapel. Let's see what we have here while Jupiter dismantles Legion. Yeah, that fight is going to be over in less than a minute when WindFox spent at least 3 in it. Oh, here is Hippogriff, maybe? Hippogriff for WindFox, wow. So yeah, now WindFox does has way better movement than Jupiter. So Jupiter has explored more map and kind of eliminated more dead ends and useless places, but they both have the same books. I think Jupiter has Golem and WindFox doesn't have it yet. But yeah, WindFox isn't like that far behind at the moment, I'd say. And now finding the dance hall. Let's see what is lying in here. Not even sure if he's behind at all, to be honest. Okay, Jupiter is finally now doing these checks, so he will get Slide and Giant Bat. And then he will need to find the chapel to get Hippogriff, but entering the chapel was only possible through the study, is my best guess. So that would be a huge travel for Jupiter to undertake. So now I think Jupiter's best bet is finding the other entrance to the dance hall. What do we have here? Galamov, I suppose? Galamov for WindFox, who now has it all, I think. I don't know if he has Undyne or Flying Armor. I don't remember when Undyne was exactly. But pretty much has it all indeed. Okay, big golem here. Vanilla big golem. JC got that too, yes. Right after slide. That check that is semi-slide locked in the bottom clock tower is very often something highly useful. Positron rifle in shop, oh boy. That's interesting. Positron is a good weapon, but it's not that convenient to battle the late game bosses. It does very bad damage on Chaos, if I remember correctly. So it's something that can be good early game, but I think now, yeah, Cannot Bulk. I would rather wield Cannot Bulk than Positron. Most likely from now on for Jupiter. Cannot Bulk is a very good straight sword. Our dark damage is a little bit unimpressive on some enemies, but the base damage is really good. Alright, I don't think WindFox caught anything that crucial in the dance hall here. I was watching Jupiter for a second, but Didn't see anything great on WindFox's side, but it's not over. We have 3 more checks up there. Black Panther plus Hippogriff is really convenient. Oh, red book for WindFox. What is it? Wing Skeleton. Okay, we have that, I think. Or I think Jupiter has that. I don't know if WindFox has it. Okay, so now WindFox has the books and Jupiter has the souls. Is basically the situation we are in. So it will be interesting to see if WindFox will find the souls first or Jupiter find the books first. Jupiter now exploring the top floor with the help of the giant bat he found in the clock tower. Oh no, Cannonball is excellent on Julius. And I'm pretty sure Chaos resists some elemental aspect of Positron, because I tried doing a Positron only run in some time ago and it sucked big time against Chaos. Oh yeah, I'm not too sure, but my best guess is nope. Soul Eater Ring is not extremely exciting here. Okay, let's check in this dance hall for WindFox. What is it? Hammer. It's also the top pick in the Glitchless speedrun. Nova Dragoon. So it's not just... Oh no, so... Okay. So I had it wrong, actually. Is that other exit that leads in here? Yes, WindFox did find the red book. The red soul is Winged Skeleton that Jupiter already has. Okay, WindFox now clearing the checks in the study. Will be able to exit the study from the top and explore the upper reservoir from there. Oh, interesting insight, JD. Thank you. Alright, Jupiter is now exploring the top of inner quarters. Yeah, okay, yeah, he had found the quarters earlier and kind of declined to explore it, and now he's gonna do that as well as the boss. I don't know if he found Galamoth, because that was in a chapel, I think, that he didn't find. Oh no, he is opting against going to the right, to the left side of the quarters. Okay, WindFox now facing the lore with this blade here. Is it the Brute or the Great? Anyway, I'm not a fan of those curved swords. We're finding the chapel. There was a couple good things in here. I think Hippogriff was in here, right? And maybe also no, Ganamoth was afterwards. So yeah, for Balor, I would much prefer any kind of decent straight sword. I think I don't know how bad Gladius is right now, to be honest, damage-wise. But yeah, not a fan of those curved swords that both do not have multi-hits and also kind of lock you in place and force you to do some backdash cancelling. But okay, WindFox is making it work. I'm not sure. It could be either broadsword or greatsword, from what I can tell. But I'm not too sure. I rarely use those swords, to be honest. Damage is not too bad, so I'm saying greatsword over broadsword. Okay, below will be done in just a second. Jupiter now going to find Hippogriff in a second as well. Going to get ready to click him. Here it is. Okay, down goes Balor. Minotaur is here as well. It's greatsword, yes. Okay, goodbye Balor. Hello, Samurai Armor. Okay, Jupiter now finding the dance hall. So yeah, now Jupiter is just doing what WindFox just did with like one area late, and WindFox is doing what Jupiter did earlier with the study checks. My gut is that Jupiter is ahead because... Okay, here's Galamov. Because he will find the books very soon, and then he will just be missing the bone pillar. And WindFox still has to find, I think, all of the mandatory souls. So both Golem and Wing Skelly that Jupiter has found. Yeah, I think this is... okay, never mind. Oh, this was Wing Skeleton, but I misremembered. But honestly, like depending on where Bone Pillar is... Oh, did he catch it while I was in power outage? If that's the case, then Jupiter is quite a sizable favorite here. Red Minotaur, as we saw. Really good red soul when you have access to huge amounts of mana, like either Chaos Ring or cheap high main ups in the shop. But otherwise, a pretty big mana investment. Not a great damage per mana ratio compared to Rush Souls, let's say. Okay, WindFox is now gonna loop back into the top reservoir, as we said. He'll be able to clear a number of checks in here with Hippogriff, which is convenient. Here's the Millikins. Okay, so yeah, Jupiter apparently has Bone Pillar and is already destroying Graham Jones. Oh yeah, didn't realize that. That means Jupiter is now in a very comfortable lead. Also has a very good late game weapon in Calabolg. So I can't see much able to stop Jupiter now from winning this race. He is very adept at destroying the late game bosses in this game. So let's see how he fares exactly. But I have full confidence in him. We're pushing him for WindFox. Going it through the dash of shame in the middle part of the reservoir. Interesting that neither player has opted to explore the checks in the eastern reservoir that you can access from the top. Here's the answer, yes. It's a big time investment, but it's also a reasonable number of checks, so can do it or not. Really, I think after personal preference and feeling. Did Jupiter find Death's Robe in the room behind Graham? That's pretty cool. I'm not sure it beats Drag Tunic, but it's one of the great armor for the late game, along with Drag Tunic and Demon's Mail. Yes, it does. Alright. Good deal then. Ninja Suit for WindFox, not too exciting. Ramen in the eastern. Mistletoe is not what you want to be finding at this point if you're WindFox. Is your luck? Oh yeah. And everyone just needs more luck in Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. It will be over in like 5 minutes for Jupiter. So there's nothing shameful about a 50-minute finish. This seed was a bit deep and required a lot of exploration. Yeah, okay, so it would be like Drag Tunic is better if you're having a strength build, and Death of Robe if you're having a in build. Makes sense. No, we are playing single chaos in this tournament. not everyone is as good as Jupiter to kill double chaos. Alright, WindFox opting to visit the shop once more. Buying cheap super potions. That's pretty cool. That will make him sure to first try the bosses most likely. Healing is really important for lesser experienced players, by which I don't mean anything to derogatory. I consider myself a lesser experienced player in that regard. I like to have healing in the final bosses. I think, like, apart from Jupiter, basically everyone would prefer to have some reasonable amount of healing for the late bosses. Okay, down goes Julius Belmont, entering the Chaotic Realm. Just under 46 minutes for Jupiter. This will definitely be sub 50. Yeah, there can be only one best player in the world for a game, right? Alright, yeah, WindFox. Oh, WindFox going through the Walk of Shame twice. More like... Oh, here's Bone Pillar. Randomly dropped from Unes. That's convenient. So now I think WindFox is just missing Golem. Not positive. But I think we've seen him get Wing Skeleton. Yeah, traversing the Chaotic Realm with Manticore, with Black Panther and Hippogriff is something we do in the glitchless speedrun of the game. So Jupiter has done it a lot, which means his movement is very well planned in advance. In that area specifically, like other areas in the game, you're not that used necessarily to traverse with the Black Panther, so you can be a bit less sure. But yeah, that area, he is just on pawn is the best player in the game. Interesting. Alright, JupiterClimb now battling Chaos. For Julius, yeah. I know Ponpon has the Rekis for Julius, and Jupiter has them for Soma. Yep. Ooh, and Jupiter opting to use the marvelous power of Gungner here. The better you are at the game and at backdash cancelling specifically, the better those weapons like Gungner that can hit 3 or 4 times per hit, but require backdash cancelling become. Because basically, if for you backdash cancelling weapons are as good or as easy to use as just jump cancelling once, then Gungner becomes really exciting, especially on those enemies like the eyes or the phase 1 that have no defense, and so the multi-hits are even more worth it on that kind of enemy. That is kind of true, and you get worse when Seeds give you Claims to Lace. Okay, Jupiter. Okay, opting for Ascalon for this second phase here. 28 per hit is not too bad with 2 orbs. Oh, castle map is not what you want to see for WindFox after going all the way through that. Yeah, I'm not sure if there is something about logic that makes Eastern Reservoir checks like not very worthwhile. But I noticed that they tend to be somewhat unexciting a lot of the times. Unlike, for example, the check over the very early game, over the shop, and over the first TP that often have something like Skula or the likes, or the slide lock check in the clock tower that often has something very useful too. I think there's something about. Oh, and Jupiter is done. GG to JupiterClimb for finishing this seed just under 50 minutes. Really impressive movement in the castle. Not the easiest, well, not the fastest seed for like the structure of it. Like I think it was actually not too harsh on pure difficulty. Like it gave you decent armor and weapons early game, as well as Devil first thing in the seed. But yeah, really well done. Complex seeds finishing them Savhour is no joke. I don't know if Jupiter will desire to join us for a post game here while we watch WindFox finish the seed. But anyway, that was a great show. WindFox now going through the dash of stream for the third time back to the lower reservoir. I don't know if he's out of ideas for where to go, or just has a plan that involves going back there. Maybe just go for the teleporter and go somewhere else. Alright, now heading to the exits on this side. Okay. I don't know why books are necessary. They are... what books are not tracked? They are semi-necessary. Like, you need to find them, but you can, if you're missing one, just guess. Because the soul can be only in a medium-sized pool. But yes, they should be tracked in my opinion. Not like it's me doing the thing, so I'm not gonna blame anyone for not tracking them, but just... Okay, here's Gangner for WindFox. What was here again? Inner quarters, oh yes. That's a good area to explore. Let's get all three, yeah. Okay, looks like WindFox has forfeited. Jupiter is done, by the way. I forgot to click that. Okay, yes, we have the forfeit from WindFox. Yeah, you know what? We know, of course, Jupiter was a favorite, but WindFox did really put up a nice fight. Like, he did find some books ahead of Jupiter, had some interesting... He did find Slide and Bat, for example, earlier than Jupiter, so he had a chance in this. Definitely, which made the race interesting, because when when both players go through sizably different routes in the castle, then it can make it all extra interesting to follow than just them doing the same thing and one being ahead. Creates more suspense, you know? Okay, let me... Jupiter is done. WindFox has forfeited. And yes. Well, that was the race, my friends. I would like to congratulate both players again. I don't know if one of them will be joining us for a post-game interview. If it's not the case, then we will just be leaving it here and having a marvelous evening, of course. Hopefully, all of us. Oh, it looks like WindFox is gonna join us here. I'll be very excited to hear what he has to say. Hello, WindFox!
Hey, GG.
Congratulations on your race. You did not win, but you definitely had some interesting moves there and found some things before Jupiter did. How did you feel about it?
This was kind of the result I expected, but that's fine. Jupiter's the best player at this game, by far. So, it's kind of expected. I felt good. Obviously, I was still missing 2 souls. But
Yeah,
with what I said, it felt good.
you showed us again a nice display of patience in that Legion fight that you took on very early on. That was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, it took a lot longer than I was hoping. When you're only dealing, 29 damage per hit, it takes a while.
Yeah, absolutely, but it did allow you to find Skula. Sadly, it was not good enough, but it's good to
Yeah.
see people tackle this fight early because it's always very exciting to watch. There's suspense, there's tension in that.
Yeah, I was hoping with a fight that took, almost 5 minutes. I was hoping it paid off, and I'm glad it did with the Skula. So, it helped out a lot. It made routing the
Yeah,
rest
absolutely.
of Clock Tower fairly simple to find. Slide, and then I think Giant Bat was down there as well.
Yeah. Like Slide was on the right, and Giant Bat was in the slide locked check there. So yeah, it could have made a difference in that race if Jupiter had spent more time before finding those crucial checks there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, GG again.
GG. Where were the last 2 souls? Because I think all I had left was the bottom of Reservoir, the arena, and top floor. I think that's all I had left to check.
Yeah, I think there was some stuff in the arena definitely. I'm not sure if both were there, but I think like Wing Skeleton was in the arena, and Golem I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe you might want to watch the replay and see how Jupiter did.
Because I know the blue soul I found accidentally
Yeah, on the Une.
on the Une before I even found the actual soul capsule or canister.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for giving us this short interview.
Of course.
I think we'll be cutting it here, except if Jupiter wants to join us. But I think he said earlier that he just wanted to stay in chat. So, yep. That will be it for us, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this race. GG again to our players, WindFox and Jupiter. You will find Jupiter facing Magius in the next round. And who is your next opponent, WindFox? Did you in the loser bracket?
Dark Moon.
Dark Moon. Okay, well, stay tuned for that. I'll be very excited to watch those matches and see where this tournament goes. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time. I've been Devledo, commentating this race for you.